Good evening and welcome to JJ Isaacson Field for our second of two here on Tuesday Night Baseball. The Royal Blue Dogs taking on the Rail Riders. The Rail Riders just off a 14-8 loss to the Red Raiders just about an hour ago. We're actually possibly starting early here in our 8 p.m. game. Jaden Taylor alongside Max Coughlin. What an odd first game that we saw. 22 combined runs. It was, I think, 21 hits plus 8 errors. And the defense just wasn't there. It was back and forth type of ball game. But we're here for this one. And the Rail Riders trying to get back on track against the Royal Blue Dogs.
I don't think we didn't see anything in the first game. And there was so much to unpack in that first game. And this game, I honestly feel like it could be the exact same thing. We have two great pitchers on the bump today. We have Matthew Coughlin, and then we have another great pitcher on the mound for the Royal Blue Dogs, and we're going to see Matthew Coughlin start out for them on the mound tonight.
Yeah, so talking about that, we'll introduce you to our starting pitcher here tonight for the Rail Riders after somewhat of a taxed for the Rail Riders this season. They're going to start off with our Game 2 starter, Matthew Coughlin. Coughlin out of Creighton University is, as you saw on your screen, a little bit of a submarine type of guy. Works a fastball, a changeup, and a slider. And is going to try to be a big pick-me-up for these Rail Riders after a really struggling pitching staff in their first game. First pitch into Nick Carlson. A ground ball over to second. P.J. Laux brings it up and throws on to first in time for the first out of the inning. Again, kind of a quick turnaround and getting back into this one. That was Nick Carlson, the catcher, number 47. Batting now, the second baseman, number 37, Ryan Eastham. At the 3 spot for the Royal Blue Dogs, Braden Bach, the right fielder. In the cleanup spot, Eli McDonald, their shortstop. In the 5 spot, their left fielder, Tommy Rowland. In center lane, Shires at third base. Batting 7th, going to be Cuddy George at first. The 8 guy, Josh Moore. And then rounding out the order, the designated hitter, Trent Kozel. The Royal Blue Dogs going to be batting 9 here today. On the other end, it's also going to be it will be 10 for the Rail Riders. As we'll see their lineup here just in a short while. But I think the biggest question mark is how long they're going to be able to go with Coughlin, and then who's after that after a really taxed pitching staff. 2 different guys that didn't even have an inning coming into today pitched in the last game for the Rail Riders, and fatigue may be an issue in this one.
Well, Jaden, I'm taking a look here at Matthew Coughlин's stats throughout the year. Only 3 innings pitched. 2 games he has pitched in. Has only seen 18 batters, and I take a look at his stats here. He's got 5 hits on the year, 3 runs, 3 of them all being earned. He's also got 3 walks only in 3 innings pitched, so he's got to be able to find that zone today if he wants to get outs and get strikeouts. He does also have 3 strikeouts on the year, and he's a pitcher that, he's consistent at sometimes, inconsistent at other times. We've only seen him 3 innings, though, so a lot more innings we could see him here today.
Able to find the strike zone after falling down 3-0. And Coughlin again going to be the guy that will go a pretty long ways here today. No Austin Shelton, which has been the ace for the Rail Riders this season. The other ace on the other end, Evan Heeb, also dealing with some injury issues. 2 of their 3 wins this season for the Royal Blue Dogs have been when Evan Heeb is on the mound. The 3rd time, it wasn't even really Heeb's fault. A really strong opening day up against actually these Rail Riders. The bullpen just couldn't come through in a 2-1 loss. But a big loss so far this week for Evan Heeb. That one's going to be up the middle and into center field. And Ryan Eastham with a full count, 1 out single, and a runner on first.
Now batting, the right fielder.
Next up, that'll bring up the right fielder, number 27, Braden Bach. Bach, we've seen actually another guy that's added this Royal Blue Dogs pitching staff. So far, this past week, Bach is working a 4-for-6 outing, 3 singles as well as a double. Does not have an RBI so far, but still off to a hot start this week and working in the 3 spot. Check swing right there. He does go. And a first strike coming there from Matthew Coughlin.
Braden Bach, really one of the only 2-way big two-way guys they have in this Royal Blue Dogs team. He has 11 innings pitched. He also has a solid amount of ABs. He has 16 ABs on the year, so he's good on both sides of the ball, and so that's a really reliable player that you really can use for the Royal Blue Dogs.
A big hack right there from Braden Bach, and now he falls behind 0-2. And Bach, the first time these two teams came around, 0 for 1 in just one opportunity at the plate. Definitely a different look in Coughlin rather than Shelton back on opening day. Coughlin looks back at first. Oh-2 pitch. Runner is off. Throw is way outside. Throw is not in time from Ben Raveling. And a stolen base right there from Ryan Eastham. Now a runner in scoring position here with one out.
Coughlin, a really big submarine guy, and that could be a problem at sometimes, especially when you have runners on and you have such a long delivery when it being submarine. You have to put your arm all the way down there, and it could really be a big thing for runners today as they get really good jumps and good leads and good steals like we just saw.
Coughlin will step off here. Coughlin again maybe having some trouble seeing the signs from Ben Rowling behind home plate. And it's working into past 8 o'clock here in Omaha, Nebraska. Definitely the sun's starting to submerge underneath some of the trees out there in the east or the west side of the ballpark. Sunset currently planned for 9:01, so probably about halfway through this one. So the sun's still going to be a factor the majority of the night, which was definitely a factor in our first game. A couple pop-ups that the Rail Riders couldn't control in the 6th. Definitely seeing the sun kind of being in their eyes being a factor. That one fouled back from Bach, and he stays alive still with the 1-2.
Another big factor of that earlier game was the wind. And earlier when the game started, there was about 13, 14 mile-an-hour winds blowing straight out. And I know, Jaden, we saw about 8 or 9 errors just in the infield, especially pop-ups, and that could have been a big factor. And the wind has definitely died down a few miles an hour just looking at the flag. So you never know how much of a factor that's going to play in this game alone.
1-2 is inside, even the count back up at 2 apiece. And again, you mentioned the mix that we've seen from Coughlin this season, that fastball change and slider. It's really easy for a submarine guy like that, really a 3/4 down to submarine. You just kind of get the normal slider movement when you kind of hold it, kind of more like a curveball, but it just gives that move with that different look. 2-2 pitch, another slider. This one grounded, fouled on the third base line.
I will say, as a submarine guy for Coughlin, if you can get that slider down on every pitch, and that's one of the most dangerous pitches a submarine guy could really throw, because it puts on so much more vertical break on your ball, especially if it's coming down from another low, even lower than 3/4 angle. You're getting so much more vertical break on that ball, and it's going to be really scary as a hitter to see that ball, because it looks like it could come right at your back and it'll drop down right in the zone.
7th pitch of the at-bat coming to Braden Bach here as Coughlin looks back at second. Big swing and a miss. The first strikeout of the day for Matthew Coughlin. Helps maybe the ability for the Rail Riders to shut down the Royal Blue Dogs here in the first. That'll bring up our impact player of the game, the shortstop Eli McDonald. McDonald 10 for 26 on the season, 3 doubles, 9 RBI, a 500 slugging percentage, and a 500 OBP. Adds up to a 1,000 OPS, and he has been the biggest hitter all season long for these Royal Blue Dogs. First pitch to him way inside, almost hits him. And Coughlin again kind of working around a little bit. The ability for both these groups, both these pitching staffs, to stay consistent in the command could be an issue. We saw a lot of command issues, at least in the bullpen for that first game. As that pitch is upstairs for a ball. 2-0 pitch is outside. And again, Kelfkin now falling behind here 3-0.
Kelfkin with 2 outs here. You don't want to put anything too fine for Eli McDonald. He is one of the best hitters on this Royal Blue Dogs team, so you really got to pitch around him, but that doesn't mean you got to walk him on 4 straight pitches. You just got to be able to hit that in and outside corners. And
now 4 straight balls right there, and Kelfkin didn't even want to mess with Eli McDonald, and now here with 2 outs, so that'll bring up the left fielder and Tommy Rowland.
The left fielder from Southeast Community College, number 45.
Rowland this season has mainly been the main left fielder for them, but has struggled a little bit. 2 for 10 on the year with a single and a double and 1 RBI. Biggest thing for him, he has struggled being able to make sure that he doesn't swing through a lot of balls. 7 strikeouts this season. As first pitch is outside for a ball.
Yeah, to the right a little bit more. Camera 4. That's the left.
1-0 pitch is outside. Kelfkin taking a lot of time out there on the mound in this first inning. I'm not sure it's maybe confusion with the catcher behind home plate and Ben Rowling. You saw that a little bit to start off the inning. Just really taking his time. Definitely a different pace than what we saw from Vinny Sargent, the starter of Game 1 here for the Rail Riders. Kelfkin checks back at second and delivers. High fastball is upstairs, and 7 straight balls have gone to Royal Blue Dogs hitters, and the taxing pitching staff, or the taxed pitching staff, excuse me, for the Rail Riders this season, it's coming apparent as Kelfkin's really the last guy available, and he's really struggling. 8 straight balls. That one hit Tommy Rowland, and now with 2 outs, bases loaded, and a spot here for the center fielder, Lane Shires.
Jaden, me and you both being pitchers on our own, you kind of have to think that going slow is. I know me and you, we don't when we pitch, we don't like to go as slow as really Kelfkin is going at his motion, because it kind of really takes you out of your rhythm. And not saying he's in a rhythm right now, because really he's really not. That's 8 straight balls he's thrown and just can't really find it right now. No one has scored yet, but there's bases loaded, 2 outs, and really you just got to pick things up, because it just makes the whole game go. It feels slow when a pitcher's really taking his time on the mound, and especially when you're not throwing strikes. And
struggling so far is Kelfkin. His bases loaded here with 2 outs. The first pitch is upstairs, and make it 9 consecutive balls thrown from Kelfkin so far here in the last 3 batters. Eli McDonald is at second. Ryan Eastham is at third, and Tommy Rowland is at first. 1-0 pitch is outside, and man, Kelfkin just cannot find the zone right now. We talked about it. I mean, he didn't have too many problems, with finding outside the zone. In 3 innings pitched, of course, 4 walks. So not great, but definitely not the struggles that we've seen here in the first. 2-0 pitch, and they'll give it to him for a strike on the outer half, and definitely maybe a gimme call a little bit there, but still a strike either way.
Just if I was Kelfkin, you got to do your best to just minimize. You got to get one more out here. Just somehow, some way, get ahead in the count or get a little nice rollover in.
Able to find the zone there as a swing and a miss from Lane Shires. A big 2-2 pitch coming here, and if you're able to get out of this inning with no runs scored, definitely a big sigh of relief, and maybe help your offense find something in the bottom of the first. 2-2 pitch. That one hits him. That'll bring in a run. Just 1 hit from Ryan Eastham as he'll come in to score. A single to start off. The second batter of the game. Eli McDonald walks, then back-to-back hit by pitches. And there's already a guy in the bullpen. That's number 47, Cody Heidenreich. He pitched in this past game up against the Red Raiders and was pretty consistent. Just an inning of work, but 2 strikeouts, and definitely kept the Rail Riders at least in it. And now that'll bring up Cuddy George, the third baseman.
To the left a little bit.
George out of Northeast Community College, another West Side grad.
To the left.
and has had a pretty big recent week. He's trying to add on to it here with bases loaded and 2 outs. 1-0 pitch is low. This past week, George, 2 for 5 with 2 runs scored. It was hit by a pitch. And this season overall, those have kind of been his only 2 hits, 2 for 12 so far this season. Has struggled with 7 strikeouts, and there's been just one piece of a struggling offense as that one almost hits him. And Coughlin just continues to struggle. I think it'll be interesting to see here if Langfelder, the starter for the Royal Blue Dogs, will need more time to warm up as he's had a lot of time on the bench. 3-0 pitches in there for a strike, and definitely there, no way there's a green light for Cuddy George in the 3-0.
Jaden, you got to think in the back of your head that maybe because they're a little fatigued after this first game, because so many things happened in that first game that I honestly didn't expect at all to happen. And I'm guessing that these Rail Riders also didn't guess that they were going to have this many things go wrong in that first game, and they're just maybe a little messed up.
Fatigue can be there, especially in a game like this, and we're already seeing it here early. Payoff pitch as the runners are off. This one squibbed over to the second baseman. P.J. Laux gets under it. Tough throw on to first, able to make it. 1 run does come in to score here in the top of the first as the Blue Dogs strike first. Take a quick break here on the Corn Belt League Network. We'll be right back. Back here in the bottom of the first, the Royal Blue Dogs strike first after a single, a walk, and 2 hit by pitches. As Matthew Coughlin shows off the kind of struggles that we've seen from the Rail Riders here so far today. We'll start it off here with the top of the lineup, one of the best hitters that we've seen so far here in the Corn Belt League, and definitely for the Rail Riders, P.J. Laux, the second baseman. Ethan Langfelder is the pitcher today for the Royal Blue Dogs. Langfelder in 17 innings of work, the second most of any pitcher so far this season for the Royal Blue Dogs. 15 hits allowed, 7 earned runs, 10 walks, 13 strikeouts, and also 10 hit by pitches, which that number combined puts yourself out to a 2.88 ERA and a 1.47 whip. So not horrible, but it's been all or nothing for Langfelder this season, who has kind of struggled to find his command at times.
The biggest thing today is exactly what you just said, is that command. Is if he's going to be able to find that. He's got 10 walks on in 17 innings pitched, so it's just a matter of if he's going to be able to find that zone today, because it's either he's on or he's off, and hopefully for the Royal Blue Dogs today, I think they all want him to be on, because when he is on, he's pumping that zone, and he's getting a lot of strikeouts. He has 13 strikeouts in 17 innings pitched.
And the zone isn't quite there for Langfelder to start this one off after 3 free passes in the first inning. Another one here is P.J. Laux. Does have a lot of speed out there at first. Reaches on with nobody out. That'll bring up the center fielder, number 28, Derek Enertson, as this one driven down the left field line but foul. Enertson, another guy with some speed, 6 stolen bases so far this season. Laux also there at first with 6 stolen bases. Enertson, our first game of the day, went 2 for 4 with 2 singles. Came around to score back in the first. And Eaton finds himself back even at 1-1. There is another righty up in the bullpen, currently up for the Rail Riders. Looks like another submariner possibly working to maybe see how long Coughlin goes. Runner is off. Strong throw is in time. The catcher and Nick Carlson throws out P.J. Laux at second. And a big first out here is you thought if that throw doesn't get in time, you have a runner in scoring position as the Rail Riders are trying to tie this one back up. But out in a different story here with 1 out. This one grounded over to third. Cuddy George, strong throw on to first is high and gets him off the bag. So Derek Enertson reaches on an air as Cuddy George kind of struggling there to keep that ball with them. I mean, definitely had more time to be able to make that throw, but overthrew the first baseman in Josh Moore.
Just like that error for Cuddy George, that makes it the 19th error as a group this year so far for the Royal Blue Dogs. So error is a big thing for this Royal Blue Dogs defense, and we've seen that a lot here today. 9 errors in the very first game of the year.
That'll bring up the first baseman, big hit Whit Rogers, as we've had a ton of things we've seen from him this season. This one flared out to second, able to make the play was Ryan Eastham for the second out of the inning. 2 outs here already in the bottom of the first. And that'll bring up A.J. Urbon, number 38, the third baseman. Urbon, the first game of the day, went 2 for 3 with 2 singles. And also did have a strikeout, but reached on the drop third strike. And a ground out. Again, if you were here for our first game, it was a tiring one, and it's understanding why the Rail Riders might be tired in this one. Back and forth ball game, a lot of offense. The defense really struggled. But we're back here for a quick turnaround for our 8 p.m. matchup. Well, could be tired after a very fatiguing first game, and now you got to find a way to bring back the energy up against a team that's definitely not just going to give it to you.
And we didn't really mention it a lot in the very first game because the Rail Riders defense really took over a lot of it. But the Rail Riders did have 11 hits total in the game earlier today, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the bats still here. And
this one popped up on the right side of the infield. Josh Moore underneath it, able to make the play. No runs on no hits, a walk and an error. But this game will stay at 1-0 in favor of the Royal Blue Dogs. We'll head to the second as the Blue Dogs look to add on. To start off the top of the second for the Royal Blue Dogs, it will be 8-9-1. It'll be Josh Moore, Trent Koziol, and Nick Carlson. Josh Moore, you just saw make a couple plays in that first inning. They're trying to help this team add on up against the Rail Riders. Matthew Coughlin, 1 run allowed, but it was definitely a scary one. A walk and 2 hit by pitches and a single brought around that 1 run, but and he just could not find himself ahead in the count for the majority of that first inning.
the biggest question right here for Matthew Coughlin is how consistent can he be in the zone? We've already seen two guys already warm up in the bullpen, one being Cody Heidenreich. We already saw Cole Ryan, number 16, out there in the bullpen last inning. So it all depends on how good he does this inning, if he's going to stay in or stay out. But nonetheless, Matthew Coughlin, he's got to find that zone. He's got to be able to work in and out and not just throw walks. And
now the speed definitely has not been there, nor has been the command. More this season, 5 for 24, 4 walks and 8 strikeouts. Does have 3 RBIs and 2 runs scored. He's ahead now 3-0, and that fourth pitch is low for ball 4. And the command just continually has just not been there for Matthew Coughlin. The fourth free pass of the day, and that'll bring up the 9-hole hitter, Trent Colegiate. Colegiate was actually one of our guys, a nominee to be the player of the hitter for this past week, or the hitter of the week, excuse me, for this past week. He's kind of been a big guy, helped out this team a lot, and have an RBI triple earlier this past week to help out the Royal Blue Dogs, getting a big spot as he looked to put a bunt down there. It's fouled away. And another thing that's kind of been struggling here has been a lot of teams just can't quite put bunts down.
I don't really know how many bunts I have seen actually put down.
There's been a lot of bunts popped up. We saw a couple of those last night, a couple different bunts put away, but a lot of guys struggling to put them down. But here with nobody out, it does seem smart, especially your 9-hole hitter. And there he's able to put it down. A beautiful bunt down the third base line. Tough throw. That one's into right field. Another error. It might go all the way to the wall. As Kojal's going to get into third, the throw is going to come into the first baseman, Whit Rogers. Another run's going to come in. As Josh Moore, after a walk, taking a deep breath right there, having to run all the way around from first. And it's 2-0 in favor of the Royal Blue Dogs.
Beautifully placed bunt over there by Trent Colegiate. And story of the day, I think we can now say for both games, is errors. Not just for both teams, but especially the Rail Riders. And they had 3 in the first game and 3 costly ones in the first game, I should say, in the very last inning. And this one already, now it's 2-0, especially on that. I wouldn't really say that's an easy play to make, but
definitely a hard play for him to make, but that's going to be the end of the day for Matthew Coughlin. Take a quick break and meet our new pitcher here for the Rail Riders. New pitcher, we'll see him for the second time of the day, Cody Heidenreich for the Rail Riders. His second appearance of the season and second appearance in less than 3 hours. First time that we saw him up against the Red Raiders, had 1 inning of work, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts. And after a big inning for the Red Raiders where they put 4 on the board, it seemed like it might have been even more. But back-to-back strikeouts for Heidenreich to get out of the inning, and I think maybe a guy that Jonathan Francisco trusts a little more out of this Rail Riders bullpen.
Cody Heidenreich really showing his presence today and really showing that he wants to be a pitcher and has the ability to pitch well in situations coming into a game with a runner on third base or runners in scoring positions. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we saw Cody Heidenreich really come in the next couple weeks and the rest of the season in really big situations, like we just saw.
Yeah, 3-pitch strikeout right there on Will Richter. And I apologize from earlier. Our lineup did not show a 10th batter that we got, but now the 10th batter right there was Will Richter. So now we'll flip to the top of the order. It'll be Nick Carlson. Carlson 0 for 1 on the day with a ground out to the second baseman this past inning. Another strike right there by Heidenreich. And, man, I mean, you got to give this guy some credit. Not a lot of experience pitching, but already 3 strikeouts and 2 appearances here early. This one, hard ground ball over by Whit Rogers. A run will score, but they'll take that for the second out of the inning. 2 runs here in the top of the second for the Royal Blue Dogs, and it's now 3-0 in favor of them.
Heidenreich really working efficiently here in his just coming in out of, I mean, I guess you could say he's still warmed up after his outing today, and 3 hours of maybe even an hour and a half of just taking a little chill off. And really, I don't really know if he knew he was going to come back into the game, but nonetheless, we're just coming off of a short rest and doing exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah, kind of just anybody that's available is kind of most likely going to be the mindset for this group and the Rail Riders for the rest of this one. And again, still 1 run allowed. It's not an earn. All 3 earned runs so far in these first 2 innings will go to Kelfkin, but definitely able to minimize and get outs, and that's kind of the thing you need if you're the Rail Riders right now. Another swing and a miss right there, and Heidenreich finding himself ahead now 1-2. Heidenreich working into Ryan Eastham. Eastham had a single this past inning in the first. And that one's in the dirt and tied back up, or even back up, at 2-2. First inning started off with just 1 hit. That was Ryan Eastham. It's still the only hit of the day so far for these Royal Blue Dogs, and they still lead 3-0. 2-2 pitch. That one grounded down the third base line. Is it fair? And still no official ruling, but I guess we'll call it foul. No ruling by the home plate umpire, but just barely went foul. Again, Eastham's been a guy that I personally really like to see. Another guy at Arizona Christian University like Evan Heeb. And he's been kind of one of the impact players that we've seen from him all season long. And trying to add on here. 4 for 21 in the season is Eastham, as he is hit. Third hit by pitch of the day, and 5th free pass. And it's been a struggling one for the entirety of this Rail Riders defense and pitching staff. It's been an odd day all around. Does have the 1 error, the 5 free passes, and just the 1 hit from Ryan Eastham. That'll bring up Braden Bach. Bach, the right fielder, struck out back this past inning in the first. And is trying to continue this second inning, currently up 3-0. Eastham did have a stolen base this past inning in the first when he reached on a single, as Bach looks at a first pitch ball.
Heidenreich really needs to get Bach here, because if you do anything, you let Bach get on, then you have Eli McDonald right after him, which is the last person I would want to face if I was Heidenreich, because he is one of the best hitters on this team right now. So Heidenreich really has to do his best at fighting at Bach and really getting this last out here.
Again, you mentioned the kind of intimidation that is to go up against Eli McDonald. In a comparative struggling team in the Blue Dogs, however, McDonald's been the biggest bright spot that a lot of hitters have not quite liked to go up, or a lot of pitchers, not like to go up against. Bach fouls this one off on the 2-0, and I think definitely a really slower change of speeds for Davidson, a guy that doesn't have a ton of pitching experience. And maybe we've seen a couple of guys be really ahead of some of these pitches so far.
Like we just saw, I could completely agree with you on that one. A lot of guys really ahead on this ball after seeing Kelfkin, that submarine guy, really just not fast at all. And you come in, you see Heidenreich. He puts a little more speed on the ball, but he's also a lot over the top more. So if it's going to put a lot more just natural speed on the ball.
Check swing right there. They say he does go. And even the count back up at 2-2. And a long day for the Rail Riders, second of 2 here after a 14-8 loss to the Red Raiders. Runner is off, ground ball into the 5-6 hole, and able to keep it in front of him was Gabriel Baker, but still no way to be able to make a play. And now 2 runners on with 2 outs, That'll bring up the man like you mentioned, Eli McDonald. McDonald this past inning in the first walked on 4 straight pitches.
University of Mishawaka, number 23, Eli McDonald.
Ryan Eastham at second. That'll be an infield single for Braden Bach at first. Another chance here for the Royal Blue Dogs to add on some more runs. McDonald looks at a high fastball, 4-1.
Zoom in a little bit more camera for me. You told him? Right there. Perfect.
Second pitch is in there for a strike, and I think it's mainly been fastball, curveball that we've seen from Davidson, a 2-pitch guy so far. We'll see what he can do. Does have a couple strikeouts so far here today. 1 here in his second appearance in just 3 hours. And 5-game slate that we see here in the Corn Belt League. Our first game here at Seymour Smith was a 14-8 win, the second win in as many days for the Red Raiders, who have really struggled this season, but the offense really helped them out. This one flared out into center, and able to make the play is Derek Enertson. Just won it here in the top of the second for the Royal Blue Dogs. However, they do score 2 more runs on an error, a walk, and a hit by pitch. And we'll take a quick break. We'll come back here on the Corn Belt League YouTube channel. The Rail Riders trying to answer back. Pooches are out tonight. The Royal Blue Dogs showing off their mascot. A beautiful night here at JJ Isaacson Field. It's cooled down a little bit for our second of 2. A 5-game slate across Omaha, Nebraska and Metro Council Bluffs. 2 games here at Seymour Smith Park. A 7 p.m. game currently going out at Council Bluffs Field 8, and another 2 games. 5 and an 8 p.m. game out at Council Bluffs Field number 7. So a lot of baseball, and you thought maybe college baseball is over with the end of the College World Series. Nope, we got more here in the Corn Belt League, as that one's going to drop in there for a single from left fielder Cedric Dunwell.
Jaden, you went to a few College World Series games, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rosh Jernstrom. Those tickets are not cheap, and a guy that's had those tickets in his family for a long time. Got to go to the first game of the year, Oklahoma, Texas, and then the last game of the year, Ole Miss, able to take down Oklahoma in back-to-back games. And man, that was a fun series. A lot of different teams that you didn't quite expect. Both Ole Miss and Oklahoma, 2 teams. A lot of teams didn't even expect them to make it into the tournament, or excuse me, into the regionals, much less into the College World Series championship game. And you got summer baseball all around Omaha. And we've had flipping a ridiculous amount of 14U games and Legion games going around here. And if you're not tired of baseball yet, you shouldn't be. We've got more great games here in the Corn Belt League.
I got to ask you this question, though, because I just got to know. Did you have any Dippin' Dots, the College World Series?
That I can't afford that, man. I can't afford Dippin' Dots. Are you kidding me? It's like $8 for like a little tube. I like, no disrespect to Dippin' Dots, but there's better options when you got Zestos out there. So many different places for ice cream. Like, Zip Dots is good, is really good. It's just not, fully worth the while at times. A walk right there from Cody Heidenreich, as he is going to be now, you drop down the designated hitter, he's going to hit for himself. And now 2 runners on here with nobody out. And we'll now see another meeting at the mound for Ethan Langfelder. The final line for Matthew Kelfkin, in 39 pitches of work, just threw 16 strikes. That's 23 balls from Matthew Kelfkin in an inning of work. Had 1 hit, 3 runs allowed. Just 1 of them was earned. 2 walks and a strikeout. But the odd thing today also was the 2 hit by pitches and just an inning of work alone. Heidenreich came back and showed off. I'd really be, if I'm Jonathan Francisco now, you got to be happy with having a guy like Heidenreich that may be available later in this season to be a guy again. You absolutely need a guy 7th, 5th or 6th, 7th inning just to get an inning through. It's a good guy available.
Well, to completely honestly, earlier this game you didn't even know if Heidenreich could pitch. Like maybe he threw a bullpen or 2 in practice, but besides today, this earlier game, you didn't know he could pitch in a game, and I think that's a big sigh of relief for all the Rail Riders, knowing that you have another pitcher that you can really rely on, and especially rely on that you're bringing him in another game back-to-back. So, that's a good thing for the Rail Riders just to bring in another bullpen guy, because you can never go wrong with more bullpen guys. You always seem like you need more, especially any baseball team you ever play on. You always seems like you need more bullpen guys. So it's a great thing to add on just another arm that is really reliable.
Pop out to the second baseman, Ryan Easton, right there from Garrett Globe, the right fielder. This is now number 29, the catcher, Ben Raveling. As he looks at 2 straight fastballs in the dirt for balls. Raveling this season, just 1 for 4 in his opportunity. Another 2 walks and 3 strikeouts, so definitely not as much experience, but trying to find it here. Now down 3-0 to the Royal Blue Dogs. Two-0 pitch coming here from Langfelder. This one lifted very high, foul territory. Josh Moore under it and able to make the play for the second out of the inning. Now a big spot here for Langfelder after giving up back-to-back base runners. Maybe trying to get out of it with no damage done.
Big time spot here for Langfelder, especially with 1 runner in scoring position and a runner on first base. You got to do your best here to get out of the inning and not let the Rail Riders have any hope, especially this early in the game.
That'll bring up the extra hitter, Garrett Deathridge, as he looks at first pitch ball. Deathridge this season, another guy that doesn't have a ton of opportunities, has struggled hitting, just 2 for 10 this year. 1 walk to 5 strikeouts, as he looks at back-to-back balls from Langfelder. Deathridge out of Iowa Park, Texas, currently going to Wayland Baptist University. It's an NAIA D1. 2-0 pitch to him. This one, another flare, foul territory, hard play for Moore. He won't get to it, and that'll drop. But yeah, we mentioned, I think the first thing I said in our Around the Corn podcast, again, what's going to be the biggest factor for these teams is going to be the depth of pitching. I think that's easily shown so far here this season. How many guys can you have available to play well and pitch well and throw strikes? And that's been available for some teams. It's not been so available for others, as Langfelder now evens it back up at 2-2.
I think that another thing you could talk about as the depth they have is the infielders and just how much you can rely on them, especially these 2 teams leading the league in errors. I mentioned Blue Dogs have 19 in a total in the whole season. And
runners off to third. He is safe. And now runners at the corners here is not quite sure if Cedric Dunwald, Cody Heidenreich got the same memo of the possible double steal, but Cedric Dunwald will head into third. Now runners at the corners here with a big payoff pitch coming to Garrett Deathridge. Runner will be off from first. 3-2 pitch way inside for ball 4, and the second walk of the inning for Ethan Langfelder. That'll bring up the shortstop,
The shortstop.
Gabriel Baker, number 42. Another guy from Texas A&M Texarkana. Played his summer ball majority of the times with the club team in the Dallas Patriots. Cool thing to think about him. The Patriots, current alumni of that select ball team, Trevor Story, Josh Bell, and A.J. Minter. So a lot of very big names coming into that program. And Texas baseball, again, definitely a different type of atmosphere than a lot of other places. This one way high and popped up, foul territory. Cuddy George coming on. He's able to make the play for the third out of the inning. Ethan Langfeller gets out of it with no runs allowed. And that'll end it here, and we're through two. Take a quick break here on the Corn Belt League YouTube channel. We'll be back to start off the third. Back here to start off the top of the third. The Royal Blue Dogs currently lead this one 3-0. But a long day here at JJ Isaacson Field, two different games. As the Rail Riders, again, the taxed arms have kind of been the big piece of the day, as well as the struggling defense. Here in the third, we'll see Tommy Rowland, Lane Shires, and Cuddy George, as the first pitch into Tommy Rowland is a ball. Rowland was hit by a pitch, back-to-back hit by pitches from Matthew Coughlin back in the first. And trying to get his first at-bat of the day as he swings wildly. That curveball inside, a not great swing right there, leaving count back up at 1-1. Heidenreich, again, I think has kind of really shown that he can be another guy to this bullpen. Working well here in his second inning of work as he finds the strike zone for strike two. It's 1-2. Nobody active in either bullpen so far. As at least the guy in the Rail Riders bullpen does not be looking to using any work so far. A strikeout right there from Cody Heidenreich, the first of the inning. And Tommy Rowland goes down on strikes. That's the second strikeout of the game for Cody Heidenreich, and the fourth strikeout. And now just 2 1/3 innings of work. So again, just really good job being able to find the zone from Heidenreich. He very well could be a possible guy to work in this bullpen for long term here for the Rail Riders.
And truly, it's the only pitcher we've seen today that really could throw strikes. We saw in the very first game, Vinny Sargent, the starter, he had 5 walks and only 4 1/3 innings pitched. And so, you know, you got to think that how many of these guys that the Rail Riders have really, truly can throw strikes and be that consistent every single time they go out to the mound. And really, Heidenreich, we've seen it today both times. So really impressive of him to go out there and really throw strikes and get outs. That's exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah, Heidenreich trying to get Lane Shires there to chase. Shires, another guy who got hit by a pitch back in the first. 4 for 21 this season with 7 strikeouts. He grounds this one back up the middle. That one's going to get into center field for a single. And back-to-back plate appearances for Lane Shires for him to get on base.
Now batting, the third baseman, Northeast Community College, number 5, Cuddy George.
They'll bring up Cuddy George, the third baseman. George grounded out to the second baseman and P.J. Laux back in the first. Again, another guy that's just trying to add on here for the Royal Blue Dogs. As that one's in the dirt, almost a delayed steal, trying to get back to first in time is Lane Shires. And a really good play right there behind home plate. Ben Ravling to keep it in front of him.
Fun fact about Cuddy George is actually another Omaha Westside grad. He did go to Millard South and transferred to Westside his senior year of high school. And the Royal Riders also have Vinny Sargent, the Westside alum. And right next to me, I have a Westside alum, Jaden Taylor. And I'm currently at Westside. So many different people here from Omaha Westside High School. So it's great to see the alumni and current students here. So
yeah, Caden Van Hill, another Westside alum, at a currently playing for the Iowa Western Reavers, is a haymaker this summer. A stolen base right there by Lane Shires. 2-0 pitch is in there for strike one to Cuddy George. And you mentioned George, a guy that does have a lot of pop when he can find the barrel. Just when he can do so. 2-1 pitch, that one in the dirt, could not get him to chase. Another really good job by Ben Ravling to put himself in the dirt and keep it in front of him. And that's kind of been a thing I've really liked to see. A lot of the catchers so far here in this Corn Belt League season been willing to keep the ball in front of them. Not too many pass balls. The defense, at least from the catching spot, has been superb. As Heidenreich evens it back out, moves the count full.
biggest thing for Heidenreich here is you got to minimize the score. You're down by 3. You just can't let anybody else score here.
Payoff pitch coming to Cuddy George. That one just on the outside corner for strike 3. George didn't like it, but another strikeout for Cody Heidenreich. It's the 3rd here in this ball game and the 5th overall here today. For George, the kind of struggles continue for him. That's his 8th strikeout of this season. We'll see how we can adjust as we head near the All-Star break. Speaking of the All-Star break, July 3rd will be the All-Star game. We'll be announcing the All-Star selections tomorrow, actually, both on the Corn Belt League YouTube channel, on our Around the Corn podcast, as well as on cornbeltleague.com. As that one skips away, nobody covering home plate. No, they're going to call it a hit by pitch. My apologies. There was no decisive movement right there, decisive call by the home plate umpire, but randomly saw Josh Moore heading to first base, so we'll see Lane Shires head back to second. Now runner on first and second here with 2 outs.
Jaden, I want to ask you this, is who do you think is your top prediction to get in the All-Star game this year?
Brendan Anderson, there's no question.
Just going to say that.
First pitch is inside, almost again hits him. That's Trent Koziel. Koziel, the designated hitter. Reached on an error by Matthew Kelfkin. It was a bunt down the third base line. Beautifully placed bunt that Kelfkin just threw way over Whit Rogers at first. It was a 3-base error for Koziel. And it was kind of the start to a 2-run second inning. The Royal Blue Dogs again trying to add on here in the 3rd. Still threatening with 2 on and 2 out. 2-0 pitch is in there for strike 1.
I feel like this year Filth Ballers are going to have quite a bit of all-stars on the team. I can name 2 already. You say Brendan Anderson, you say Nolan Christensen. That team is just so stacked that they have so many options on that team for the all-star game.
2-1 pitch is just on the outer half for strike 2. And both the umpires here today have been given really about a half an inch off that outer half, but have been very consistent with it. And I think that's been the big thing to notice. This one driven out into right center field. That one's going to get down. Extra bases for Trent Koziel. And the throw will come into second, be cut off. Throw was coming home, and it is not in time. A 2 RBI double for Trent Koziel. He'll go to 3rd on the throw. And for the 2nd time here today, we see Josh Moore, the big first baseman, having to go to first all the way around to score.
Big time hit there for Trent Colgiate. Extends the lead for the Royal Blue Dogs. Exactly what you need to do, but I still think Heidenreich really kind of a little frustrated after that because he knows he's pitching well right now, and that's the most unfortunate thing that could happen for him.
Again, that's kind of the story when a guy just doesn't have a ton of experience, at least at the college level. Left that one a little bit more over the plate than he wanted, and Trent Colgiate ripped that one into right center field. First pitch coming in here to Will Richter, and that one's inside for a ball. It's a 5-0 lead here for the Royal Blue Dogs. They've just been kind of pouring it on here so far. That one down the third base line and foul. But I think here, there's a lot of positives that we've seen for both the Red Raiders and the Royal Blue Dogs, but for the Rail Riders, it's just more and more question marks. Again, the depth of the pitching staff, what's there? The defense has just not quite been there here today, and going to be a tall task, but definitely still time. We're about halfway through this one for the Rail Riders to come back. I mean, you even saw in that last game, a 4-run inning is definitely not something out of the question for this offense for the Rail Riders. Coming into the day was hitting combined .244. That's third in the Corn Belt League this season. Another pop-up. Third base side, A.J. Urban able to make the play and get the third out of the inning, but not without damage. 2 runs on 2 hits and a hit by a pitch. And the Royal Blue Dogs currently lead 5-0 as we head to the bottom of the inning. Back here to start off the bottom of the third, P.J. Laux will flip the lineup card over for him. And the Rail Riders currently down 5-0. Another pop-up. Going to be a hard play. 3 guys converge, and it's going to drop. Seeing that a lot today. Cuddy George and Nick Carlson trying to converge on that ball, and Carlson called George off. And definitely did not get in the position you want to. And as a catcher right there, he kind of went towards the ball, right, had his chest towards center field. And although I didn't play a ton of catcher, usually the main emphasis there is to kind of throw away the mask as far as possible and get yourself behind the ball. That way you can have a better vantage point to make the play. But either way, it drops for what they will call a hit, as it did not hit off his glove. Another kind of odd hit for P.J. Laux.
And I mean, looking at that from if you're looking on the screen right now, or if you looked at it, Cuddy George really was coming up on that ball, and I honestly thought Cuddy had the better opportunity to get that ball than because Nick Carlson was really backing up on that ball. So maybe if Cuddy George would have called that ball off, it would have been a different outcome. But nonetheless, it was kind of an unfortunate curve of events for Ethan Langfelder.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the idea a lot. Sometimes you see kind of flares out into the outfield, right, where it's 2 guys coming on, a second baseman and a right fielder per se, and definitely wanting the outfielder to be able to make that call and make the play when he needs to, as Langfelder gets a strikeout right there of Derek Enertson. And Enertson 0 for 2 today, reached on an error back in the first. and strikeouts right there. Now we'll see the first baseman, number 51, Whit Rogers. Rogers had a little flare out to the second baseman, Ryan Easton, back in the first. And trying to find some kind of momentum for the Rail Riders, who have really struggled here, now down 5-0. There's a 1-run first, 2 runs in the second, another 2 runs this past top of the inning for the Royal Blue Dogs. The pitching has just not quite been there, and they had to rely on a lot of different guys as that one almost hits Whit Rogers. Steps out of the box a little bit after that one.
He'll just stick his stomach out there? I mean, I guess he can. He'll just suck in the ball with the
2-0 coming here to Rogers. That one upstairs for ball 3. Rogers, I think we definitely saw it in the Crop Dusters game. If Tyler Reedy is watching this one, or definitely watch that one, with definitely a character to say the least that puts a lot of emphasis and a lot of heart into this group as he looks at a 3-0 fastball down the middle.
I guess you could say that Whit Rogers is unanimously one of the fan favorites of the Corn Belt League.
At least up here.
Yes,
Corn Belt League crew.
For the Corn Belt League crew, I would say that Whit Rogers is one of our favorites for the year.
Swings and misses right there on a pitch on the outside. Even the count, move the count now to 3-2.
I think he's the only person we've seen actually on camera got breaking a bat and many other things. So Whit Rogers, nonetheless, one of the.
Full count pitch. This one is driven into center field, but it's right at Lane Shires. A good barrel right there by Whit. Well, it'll be the second out of the inning. And again, Ethan Lankfelder has kind of worked pretty well here so far. Has found his stride. And real quick, we'll give you a couple updates around the other games here in the Corn Belt League. The Filth Ballers in the bottom of the 6th are currently leading the Black Sox 6-1. The Haymakers in the 5 p.m. game out at Council Bluffs took down the Crop Dusters 6-3. And I think one more game, the 8 p.m. game for the Crop Dusters out at Council Bluffs. They're currently taking on the Bombers and are in a not great facet there in that one. Here in the bottom of the 3rd, they're down 10-1 and a big blowout. Yeah, the Bombers, I think, have kind of been, I talked about it in the podcast a little bit, kind of been the most inconsistent team in my mind in the Corn Belt League this season. They'll just destroy a team they should, a really good team. They were just the first loss, and for a while the only loss of the season for the Filth Ballers. And then, they lose to some teams they should really beat. 2 losses to the Red Raiders this season, the only wins for them this season. And just kind of mix back and forth. The talent is there, just can they put it together?
The biggest thing for the Bombers is they have 2 really good pitchers for that team, and then because they have Zane Layden and then they have Adam Egger, and then after that, it really comes down to who else do they have, because we saw that last week in our here on Monday night last week. They had Adam Egger go out, and after Adam Egger was done, you bring in pitchers. You bring in like Brendan Pike, for example. He's a pitcher that can throw strikes, but he's one of the most inconsistent on that team because you never know if he's going to come out throwing strikes or if he's going to walk the house. So it's really an inconsistent amount of depth that they have on their team. Like, they have those 2 amazing guys, and then after that, you don't really know how long they can go.
Full count pitch is upstairs for a ball, and now 2 runners on here with 2 outs for the left fielder, Cedric Dunwald. Dunwald got a single and reached to 3rd, but couldn't get past that this past inning in the 2nd. In our first game of the day, Dunwald was 1 for 4 with a single in the 5th, or did reach on an error in the 1st. And you talk about, again, the pitching has been an issue for the Bombers at times, and we saw even last night, we thought, Zane Layden's been the guy, really, even oddly to say enough, the number 2 behind Adam Eggert, but both of those 2s have kind of gotten rocky these past couple outings for them. Strong throw into first is in time. Dunwald didn't like it, but Eli McDonald able to have a lace over there to first for the 3rd out of the inning. We'll head to the 4th. The Royal Blue Dogs currently lead this one 5-0 and are in a good spot. top of the fourth. We're 3 innings through, and the Royal Blue Dogs currently lead this one 5-0. And again, really good spot for them so far. That one upstairs as Cody Heidenreich comes in for another inning of relief for him. And still nobody in the bullpen after kind of a struggling last 2 innings for him. But we see now, the thought process is, who else do you have to go here for the Rail Riders?
I was just going to ask the same thing because you really have to have that thought in the back of your mind is who else do they really have that could go in? And it's already 5-0, so you might as well just let Heidenreich really just go. Heidenreich really go out as long as he can and just ride him until he really truly can't go out anymore. So it really comes down to that possibility of who do you really have.
This one chased at on a 1-2. It's going to go out of play.
No, Mike. Just get back on your camera. Someone will grab that. Mike. No, just go. 3-3. I like your anticipation and your readiness to go get that, but we need more.
1-2 pitch is inside for ball 2. This for the Royal Blue Dogs. As they try to add something on here, it's the top of the order, Nick Carlson. And Carlson almost hit there once again. He's trying to plead his case, but he won't get it. And he's trying to laugh a little bit with the home plate umpire, trying to get that call, but won't. And I guess the hit by pitches have kind of become a normality here so far today. 2 in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 in the third. As he walks. There's already a runner on here at the top of the order for the Royal Blue Dogs. That'll bring up the second baseman, Ryan Eastham. Eastham had that single back in the first and was that hit by pitch like I mentioned in the second. And I think the mentality here, Max, for both of these groups is, maybe pad the stat sheet a little bit, see what guys can do. We're halfway through this season, but things can change and see, who can maybe add a little bit to their stat total. Devin Jones will run now for Nick Carlson. Devin Jones, if you want anybody on the base paths, it's going to be him. This season, he's just been a speed threat the entire year long.
Big thing here, though, is for Devin Jones is he also does get caught sleeping on the base paths quite a bit, so it's a big challenge for him. Yes, he is fast, one of the fastest guys in this league, but he does get caught sleeping quite a bit.
Yeah, at times that can be an issue. The aggressiveness and agility from Devin Jones, he's off in the first pitch. Strong throw is not in time as it's an odd hop there for P.J. Laux, goes over his glove, but a good backup right there by Gabriel Baker, and Devin Jones reaches into second safely. Now runner in scoring position with still nobody out.
Jaden, you want to know what I'm excited about?
What are you excited about?
Your Corn Belt League pitching debut. Not a lot of people know that's going to happen, but
we're talking about that.
I really want to see it happen, and I know you do too, because you don't hit that many people, so it'd be actually an interesting game to see how you do.
That's the 6th stolen base of the day for Devin Jones. I think we'll wait for that conversation for a little bit, but yes, it is possible I may pitch in the next couple of days. But we'll see here. An 0-2 count here to Ryan Eastham. Still nobody out. Devin Jones, a speed threat out there at second. And Jones, like you mentioned, 6 stolen bases this season. Did get caught sleeping twice on the base paths a couple times, but the agility's been the biggest factor for him for how fast he can be, and some plays that he can make out in the defense kind of made up for sometimes the aggressiveness. And Heidenreich will look back once again.
Heidenreich really has to be careful here on the 0-2 count. No outs on the board, especially with Devin Jones on second base. You got to keep a close eye on him and not let him get to third base at an easy cost.
And 0-2 pitches outside, trying to get Eastham to chase.
3-3.
Eastham, like we mentioned before, one of 3 guys on this team from Arizona Christian University. And talking to Evan Heeb, who was originally supposed to be slated as the starter today here for the Royal Blue Dogs. He's dealing with a little bit of arm discomfort, but hopefully we'll be back within the next week. As this one's popped up and play is made by P.J. Laux out there at second for the first out. But I think the biggest thing for them, again, it's summer ball. The heat's going to be a big thing. But the biggest adjustment, moving a couple thousand miles away, so many different things, different people to meet, different baseball, different guys to look at. The biggest change for him has been the humidity. That's just been the biggest thing for him. He told me he would rather have 105 in Arizona with no humidity rather than like 88 to 90 with humidity here.
I will say I don't think this summer yet we haven't had a day without humidity.
Oh, I mean, it's just a given.
It's just Nebraska. I know you're going to deal with it next year. You're going to be in that 105 heat.
Well, I won't deal with any humidity.
No humidity, but that 105 dry heat out at Arizona State. So, and you'll have fun with that. I know you will. So.
We have a block where it's being used by another foul.
1-0 pitch is fouled off by Braden Bach. Bach 1 for 2 today, had a single, brought in a run this past, or excuse me, in the second, struck out in the first.
2, 3 on 3. Now it's a 1-on-1.
1-1 pitch from Heidenreich is in there for strike 2. And Bach shaking himself a little bit of that one. Had a little bit of curve movement. I think Heidenreich trying to switch up the different pitches that he has and see what he can work.
Go to the left a little bit.
Devin Jones out there at second is the courtesy runner for Nick Carlson. So Royal Blue Dogs look to add on. That one's fouled way out of play, out of the ballpark. And he'll do the 1-2 once again.
To the left a little bit more, Caleb. Just gotta have that picture. That pitch. 2, 3 on 3. Those are fires.
1-2 pitch once again. Devin Jones is off. It is fouled back. And he'll do another 1-2 as Devin Jones will have to head back to second. He got a really good jump on Heidenreich. I think that was kind of an interesting story. You talked to Ty Beasley about it this past game. 4 stolen bases for him. And I think when talking with him, it was just he found the right jump. He found a lot of pitchers, these Rail Riders kind of sleeping a little bit. And it was kind of a 1 Mississippi and go as he really saw a lot of 1 or 2 looks. This one driven deep out of left center field. That one is going to get down. It's going to be extra bases for Braden Bach. Devin Jones can come around to score. Strong throw into third is in time. Ooh. Braden Bach is pleading his case. It's going to be an RBI double thrown out at third.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I don't want to add on to that. But a big RBI right there by Braden Bach. I mean, he got just about all of that one. In a lot of different ballparks, that might have been out as maybe an inch in front of the warning track out there in left center field. And either way, it's a 6-0 lead now here for the Royal Blue Dogs. Another grounder over to P.J. Laux. Eli McDonald is retired. And that will end this one here in the top of the 4th. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th. The Rail Riders trying to find some kind of offense, down 6-0. Back in here for the bottom of the inning. The Rail Riders trying to find something here. A beautiful baseball sky here in Omaha, Nebraska. couldn't be a better night for some baseball, as this one is driven by Cody Heidenreich into center field. A long way for the center fielder in Lane Shires to track, but a good play, about 390 feet dead center for the first out of the inning. But either way, I mean, Cody Heidenreich right there. And another ball right there that in a couple ballparks, definitely here in Omaha, Nebraska, that one might have been out.
Cody Heinrich really showing us he can do both sides of the ball, hit and pitch. Really, we only thought he could hit before today, and now showing us he can do both. So
there's a righty now in the bullpen for the Rail Riders. It's P.J. Laux, currently setting himself up as a second baseman. But Laux does actually have a good amount of experience pitching, as this one's popped foul from Garrett Globe. Laux is a Creighton Prep alumni and is currently going to one of the best Jayhawks, Hutchinson Community College. Does have some pitching experience, struggled there, but maybe some time to adjust here, as that one was way inside to Garrett Globe, and a deep breath after that one. Another chopper over to third. They'll call that one foul. And do the 3-2 once again.
home plate umpire really doesn't put his arms up for those foul balls, so it's kind of hard to tell because
there's been a couple times where it's like, is that not? Is that there? 3-2 pitch. Again, is fouled off. And really good at bat so far here for Garrett Globe, trying to extend maybe the arsenal. Yeah, the arsenal here for Ethan Langfelder.
Really, at this point in the game, you just got to string something together. You got to start something. If you're down by 6, and you just got to do something to string on anything you can get in any opportunity.
That one driven way foul. Definitely got a barrel, but just out in front of Langfelder. And now we'll do the 9th pitch of the at-bat. Here coming to Garrett Globe. Another payoff pitch coming here to Globe. This one driven deep out into left field. Will it stay fair? It is a foul ball. Oh, some grunts and groans by the Rail Riders dugout. That one left the ballpark, but maybe, just maybe, 2 feet foul.
A big sigh of relief was on Ethan Langfelder's face, and yes, that ball was foul. I think I got the second best view of that besides the home plate umpire, and that was just a little left to the 325 sign, but that probably went about 335, 340. That ball was shot.
So either way, 11 pitch at bat for Garrett Globe, and he draws a walk. So now a runner here at first, and here with one out. Again, the scheme is still definitely not out of reach at 6-0, but definitely going to have to be a tall task for the Rail Riders to come back in this one. Definitely being fatigued after the first game. This one popped, still in play. Josh Moore underneath it makes the play for the second out. And a big second out right there as Ben Raveling pops up.
And I was going to mention a little bit ago, but there was some movement over there in the Rail Riders bullpen. There was P.J. Laux getting hot.
Yeah, Laux.
Yep, he wasn't getting warmed up. He was getting hot. So wouldn't be surprised in the next inning or two if we saw P.J. Laux go in there and take over.
Like you mentioned, he does have some pitching experience. We'll give you more to him if and when he does come in. But Ethan Langfelder here today has done a pretty solid job. Does have the 4 walks and a hit by pitch, but 1 strikeout and just 1 hit. Does not have a run currently given up. This one driven into left field and a diving play, but it gets past the left fielder, and Tommy Rowland going to roll all the way near the wall. Lane Shire's going to get to it. Possible relay play at the plate is in time. They get Garrett Globe trying to come all the way around from first base. And a beautiful relay. Shires to Eli McDonald into Nick Carlson. And they cut the runner at the plate.
Beautiful play there for the Royal Blue Dogs, and exactly what you need to keep the runs scoreless on the board and keep your lead to 6. So amazing play by them.
So that'll end the 4th. We'll head to the 5th. The Royal Blue Dogs, another big sigh of relief, able to get out of the inning with no damage occurred. It's 6-0. new pitcher into the ball game for the Rail Riders. We mentioned it this past inning, warming up the bullpen. It was P.J. Laux. It's going to be his first appearance of this season for the Rail Riders. He actually was listed coming into the season as a pitcher. That will be the end of the day for Cody Heidenreich, unless we'll see anything extraordinary from him. He is still set up at least to be the designated hitter. I am not currently knowledgeable of exactly how that will work. Again, Heidenreich lined up originally as the designated hitter, came in to pitch, and now with him out of the pitching spot, we'll see if they'll just keep him as the designated hitter or if they'll have to change out with Laux currently pitching. But Heidenreich, again, not the most incredible day, but still something for him in 3 innings of work. 3 earned runs allowed, 4 hits. Did have 3 strikeouts compared to 2 walks, but I mean, in 2 outings here in just 1 day, he at least showed that he could be a guy that'd be available for this Rail Riders pitching staff down the line.
He looked really dominant for a guy who has not pitched once yet this season. So really good job for him to come out in both games and really shut down the door and really keep him in both games. And yes, they lost the first one, but right now, and they are losing the second one, but they really are truly keeping him in this game. And he's pitching up to his expectations, as he has not pitched once in this season. So really a good guy that they can use again going on for the next half of the season.
Now, Laux is going to be a guy with a blow-by fastball. You saw it right there, but sometimes struggling to be able to find the zone, as 4 balls on that one, and Tommy Rowland reaches on a walk to start off this inning. That'll bring up the center fielder, number 46, Lane Shires. Laux, again, like we mentioned, is a Creighton Prep alum from 2020. For those Prep guys that do remember, as that one skips away from the catcher, as Rowland's able to reach on to second on the pass ball. I believe there is a defensive change behind home plate. We'll get that. I believe it's Keegan McLaughlin has now come in to be the catcher, relieving Ben Ravelin. I could be incorrect. But a runner now at second for P.J. Laux. And the 1-0 pitch is a ball. Laux, like we mentioned, really struggled at Hutchinson, at least in his pitching opportunities. 2 2/3 innings pitched, 12 earned runs, and those 2 2/3 innings of work. And he's able to find the zone now, 2-1. This one popped up, another high pop-up near the fence, and it's dropped once again. Man, this has been a hard day for a lot of pop-ups. So many high balls. Definitely the different lights can definitely get into some guys' eyes. The sun was definitely a factor in our first game for a couple of those, but it's kind of been a hard day for so many high pop-ups that the defense just has not quite been able to make.
I will say the next thing that the Rail Riders are going to work on at practice is definitely infield pop-ups. That is a given.
This one driven deep out into left field. That has a chance to go, and it just drops in front of the wall. Extra bases. It's going to be an RBI triple for Lane Shires. And another run comes across for the Royal Blue Dogs. Man, that one was pieced.
We've already seen 2 balls hit in that exact same spot. We just saw that one, and then we saw the one earlier by Braden Bach. So really good hitters on this Royal Blue Dogs team, and they're showing it today. Now extending the lead to 7.
Another time we've seen a ball kind of just about 10 feet away, at least on the warning track from going out, as Cuddy George now will ground this one over to short. Strong throw is in time. Whit Rogers able to keep his back foot on the bag. It will score another run, as it's now 8-0 in favor of the Royal Blue Dogs. A quality at bat right there for Cuddy George, and an RBI.
The Royal Blue Dogs have scored in every single inning so far, which is exactly what you need to do to keep piling on runs and really just keep attacking on teams like this that really have been struggling in the past couple days.
Yeah, if you're looking at the scoreboard so far, at least the box score. 1 run in the first, 2 in both the second and third, another run in the fourth, and now 4 here in the fifth. And I think a long day just becomes longer and longer for the Rail Riders. Is not many options pitching-wise for the rest of this one for them. As this one is driven into center field, it's going to drop for another base hit as it gets in front of Derek Enertson.
Jaden, I really want to have a stat on our game changer for the amount of duck snorts that we have seen already in today's game, and I feel like that's my favorite word. I really do love to say that word, duck snorts. It just represents the hit perfectly, I think.
Yeah, a duck snort, or some people may know it as a Texas leaguer. There's kind of a little flare that drops in between some of the kind of Bermuda triangles that you see out into the outfield. As a big swing and a miss right there from Trent Collegiate. Collegiate reached on an error, what ended up being a 3-base error from Matthew Coughlin back in the second, then drove a double into center field. It was a 2 RBI double. She would come around to third, so both different times he's had 2 3-baggers, and we'll see what he can do here with 1 out in the fifth as the Royal Blue Dogs just keep pounding it on here at Seymour Smith Park. Another big swing right there by Collegiate, but he chases outside. Moves the count now to 1-2. One-two pitch is fouled and laced out of play, and we'll do the 1-2 once again. So I think we're headed towards the All-Star break. You mentioned it, and I think with a lot of different teams trying to see the best guys that we'll see the entirety of both the all-Nebraska team or all-local team as well as the Team USA, all the guys that are not from Nebraska, on July 3rd. That'll be the ball game. Loads of different things and loads of opportunities to have fun here at Seymour Smith Park. A corn cob eating contest, some more and more festivities throughout July 3rd, and a great way to spend your July 4th weekend. 5, 4, not 3. That'll be a fielder's choice right there from Trent Collegiate. And 2 outs here in the fifth.
Jaden, you want to do the corn cob eating challenge with me?
That'd be fun.
I feel like I could really beat you in that. I have a good feeling.
Don't think you could.
I think
you underestimate me.
I think we got a competition
You
now
underestimate my corn cob eating ability.
I don't know, because last year's All-Star game, there was a lot of corn, and I ate a lot of corn here last year, so it was...
What define a lot?
How
many is a lot?
I don't know. What's your...
Well, I mean, you actually did it, so there should be some kind of number there, right?
I guess we have to find out on July 3rd. But
you're speaking about last year.
I know.
This is past tense. 1-0 pitch is in there for a strike. This is Will Richter. Pick back to first. That one gets into right field. As Trent Collegiate will go to second as another long throw gets past the guy, but able to stay in front of Gabriel Baker, the shortstop. And back pick kind of doesn't quite pay off for the catcher and Keegan McLaughlin, and now runner in scoring position. Still 1-2 count here for P.J. Laux. Here with 2 outs in the fifth. 1-2 pitch, another fouled off his shin, and definitely taking a quick walk here. Those do not feel good.
No, and that's when you wish you had those Evo Shield or different protective gear on your shins right there on your foot, because we've already seen quite a few of those happen today, and I just know as a hitter you don't want those to happen because those do not feel good, especially even off your elbow too, and that's why they have all that protective gear, because it does not feel good when you get hit there.
Laux trying to get out of the inning without any more damage done. It's been all Royal Blue Dogs so far, 8-0, and another chance to grow that lead here as that 1-2 is in the dirt, even the count back up at 2s.
Jaden, what are your opinions on the All-Star game today, this year? I like the setup they have going for it.
I mean, I think it's fun. I mean, it's a good idea. you're more likely to get some people to come out here for July 3rd festivities. You don't have it on July 4th where people are going to be out of town and stuff like that, but a good way for people to spend their July 4th weekend. And why not watch some good baseball? Ground ball is short. Gabriel Baker will throw on to Whit Rogers at first, and that'll end the inning. However, the Royal Blue Dogs do add on 2 more on 2 hits. We head to the bottom of the 5th. It's 8-0 in favor of the Royal Blue Dogs. Back here for the bottom of the 5th and 8-0 ball game as Ethan Langfelder continues his outing. He's been pretty strong for a start and exactly what the Royal Blue Dogs needed with their ace in Evan Heeb out of this ball game with some injury troubles. But again, we talked to Heeb before this game, but hoping to see him probably either for the All-Star game or after the All-Star game for him. We'll see how much longer of a recovery they'll need from him for this season. The Royal Blue Dogs, after today, they'll have both Wednesday and Thursday off. They'll play the Black Sox, an away game this Friday at 7 p.m. That'll be not here at Seymour Smith. Another pop-up as 2 guys converge, just barely bounces off of Josh Moore. I think they're laughing a little bit about it. Langfelder and Moore putting everything out there to make that play.
Right now, Langfelder really showing that he is one of those good rotation guys right behind Evan Ebe, maybe right next to Evan Ebe. Right now, I honestly think for the Royal Blue Dogs rotation, it goes Evan Ebe, of course, the number 1 guy, and right next to him is Ethan Langfelder at number 2. So Royal Blue Dogs really showing that they have a lot of depth in that bullpen and a lot of depth in that rotation. So I really feel like that their pitching has really gotten a lot of good increase through the start of the season.
This one grounded up the middle. It's going to go into center field. And it's a single for number 42 and Gabriel Baker out of the 10th spot.
Top of the order, the pitcher.
So that'll bring up the top of the order. Now the pitcher, originally the second baseman, P.J. Laux, will look to kind of keep possible rally going here. And you mentioned the depth for some of these pitching staffs. Only actually 7 guys that the Royal Blue Dogs have pitched this season. Excuse me, actually just 6 guys they've used this season. Eli McDonald was actually slated for a start that wasn't correct. But, again, 6 guys they've used this season. Tommy Rosario, the 0-0. We've seen him this season. Evan Heeb, like you mentioned, has pitched 18 innings. Rosario earlier, again, 10 1/3 innings pitched. Luke Killinger has pitched 6 2/3. Braden Bach was 11 coming into the day. And Ethan Langfelder looking for his 22nd inning pitch coming into this inning right here. Another guy that we've seen is Tanner Durazo. Currently leads the league in first pitch strike percentage and it's 72.1 first pitch strike percentage. He just a lot of times kind of left some things over the plate a little bit too much, which Gave up 6 earned runs up against the Haymakers. But again, a guy that's still available and a guy that gives you strikes. And I think if you're a lot of different coaching staffs, you'll take that. Little fly over to Ryan Eastham as he's able to make the play for the first out of the inning.
Right now, you really got to think about how much longer Langfelder really can go in this game. It's a matter of when you want to go to your bullpen. You're in the bottom of the 5th inning right now, and he's really cruising. Only 3 hits through 4 and 1/3 inning, so not doing bad at all, and really keeping them in this game as they have a really big 8-run lead.
The 72nd pitch of the day as another pick back trying to work Baker back to first. But again, like I mentioned, 72 pitches, for Langfelder today, and 4 1/3 innings of work. So again, a pretty efficient start for him. Definitely nothing to complain about for him, but definitely if he keeps working through these next couple innings, or at least a thought process of how much longer he can go, and for Coach Guido and the rest of this Royal Blue Dogs coaching staff, who's the next guy to go to after that? And you do have a pretty sizable lead at 8-0, so maybe another opportunity for position players pitching here in the Corn Belt League.
Another thing to talk about is on the Rail Rider side is how long you're going to keep PJ Locks in, and how long are you going to keep him in for the next 3 innings of the game, or just who else do you have to bring in or warm up?
Langfelder does not deliver the 3-0. He'll look back once again at Gabriel Baker, and I think more or less not to make sure Baker stays, but kind of reset himself here before the 3-0. So fireworks going on in the night sky as the 3-0 pitch is in there for strike 1. And I think that's kind of cool. We think Sandlot a little bit, the fireworks illuminating the night sky for some night baseball and a bunch of the July 4th nights. And definitely see him, at least in the distance, some little shatters of fireworks here and there. As a walk right there as Derek Enertson will reach.
You know, I feel like a pretty cool idea for the All-Star game is when it gets to nighttime, maybe put some fireworks out in the outfield during the game, and that wouldn't be a bad idea. We might have to.
Here's what I'm thinking. Movie night, Sandlot after the game.
How are you going to do that?
Okay, I mean, projector, CD player, show it off a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. There's another firework I saw out there in center field. That wouldn't be a bad idea. You put some fireworks in the outfield. Maybe, let's say it's the seventh inning of the game. People are getting a little bored, you know.
Don't do it in the middle of the game. I mean, don't want to do it in the middle of the game. Like post-game. Post-game, that'd be cool.
You don't think during the game? You just mentioned Sandlot, and now you're saying post-game.
Yeah,
right,
but
during
like
Sandlot, it's
yeah, but I mean, Sandlot, it's another 2 miles away or so. It's just kind of illuminating the night sky. They just kind of go through it. It's the middle of the game here, right?
But it's the All-Star game.
True, but like it's
so you're telling
it's 200 feet away. You really think that kind of loud of fireworks is not going to at least disrupt the game a little bit?
Yeah, it may. But I do like your idea of the movie night. I would 100% go
July 4th, mid-70s.
July 3rd.
Well, I'm just saying July 4th, too, would be pretty nice. But July 3rd, right? Maybe nighttime and like, here's the thinking. Have you ever heard, I know I've heard of this before. I think maybe a lot of our viewers may have heard of this before. Putting the Sandlot on, like on New Year's Eve, and right as the fireworks start is right when it hits midnight. You do the same thing here, but right as it hits midnight, it's July 4th.
I'm still going to take you up on that corn cob eating challenge.
I mean, I'm going to beat you.
And I know a lot of other people
are going to beat you. I mean, it's just not.
Yeah, you see our tech producer over there, Ethan McCormick, he also agrees.
The what?
On the corn cob eating challenge.
We'll have to do this sometime. Check out the Around the Corn podcast, week 7. Max and I, corn cob eating contest. That's going to be what we're going to do. More beautiful content for Around the Corn. Speaking of Around the Corn, you can watch our Around the Corn podcast tomorrow, currently scheduled for 5 p.m. We're kind of sectioning ourselves around whenever the All-Star Game selections are truly announced, or at least truly set to be announced. So currently 5 p.m. We'll still be out here at Seymour Smith Park. Wednesdays at 5 p.m. we will talk with our hitter of the week and Braden Olson, as well as the pitcher of the week, Anthony Comfort. Get a little bit of talk from some of our CBL reporters about the league this past year, or this past couple of weeks, and then going forward past that.
Now batting, the third baseman from Blackhawk College.
Bases loaded now as Whit Rogers walks, and Langfelder really trying to adjust here. The bases loaded and just one out. This one driven over the shortstop. That's going to get into center field. Past the glove of Eli McDonald. 1 run's going to come in. The second run will hold up at third. And the shutout has been shut down. As a run comes in for the Rail Riders, it's 8-1.
There is some action going on in the Royal Blue Dogs bullpen. It looks like it's. Let me check and see who that is.
That is a lefty out in the bullpen. I believe it is Tommy Rosario. Rosario available in the bullpen, possibly if Langfelder can't get through the rest of this one, but definitely a pretty big cushion, here with 1 out in the bottom of the 5th. 1-1 pitch is in there for a strike. 1-0 pitch, is in there for a strike, and leaving the count back up at 1-1. Langfelder again kind of losing command a little bit. That's kind of been the biggest woe for him this season. We mentioned coming into the ball game, 10 hit by pitches along with 10 walks, but on the other end, another 13 strikeouts. This one driven out into right. Possible sac fly opportunity. Braden Bach able to make the play. Strong throw into home, but not in time as Derek Enertson scores. And 2 runs here in the bottom of the 5th. Cut the deficit now down to 6.
I will say these Royal Blue Dogs outfielders really do have some arms on them. We saw that one throw out from left field on that relay earlier in the game, and then Braden Bach almost just had that throw out from right. So really nice knowing that if I was a pitcher for the Royal Blue Dogs that you have the chances to get someone out at home plate on a relay or a throw out. So nice to know there.
First pitch is a ball to Nolan Chandler. Chandler will come in for Cody Heidenreich. Chandler started game 1 for the Rail Riders, was pinch hit later in the ball game for P.J. Laux. Did have a double in the 5th, but a strikeout back in the 1st. 2-0 pitch. This one's popped up, and near the fence, it'll go out of play into the seats as Langfelder was ready to make the play. He came all the way from the mound to the fence. I mean, we've seen that a couple times this season for him. He's got the energy that you want in your starting pitcher, and he's willing to lay his body out for any kind of play whatsoever. Even in a situation like this, he wants to make the play to help his team out.
He's one of the pitchers I've seen, really one of the only ones I've seen in this league so far that truly shows emotion after a good inning or maybe even a bad inning. He shows that emotion, and sometimes it can be a good, or most of the times it can be a good thing. Sometimes it can be a bad thing when you get a little too over-exaggerated. But I love emotions that pitchers give, especially in other colleges, like the men's college World Series. We saw a lot of emotion in that championship game, and I love it. I love when players show emotion because it really shows that they truly care, and Ethan Langfelder really shows that emotion.
Yeah, Coach Guido called him the most colorful guy in the league. He is a guy, like you mentioned, has a lot of different emotions, can be up one day, go down one day, kind of like a mood ring a little bit. And 3-2 pitch right there is inside to Nolan Chandler. And now bases loaded here with 2 outs. Now we'll see Tommy Rosario just finished up his bullpen. He's ready to go whenever needed. But still with a 6-run cushion here, I think at least comfortable for at least one more batter as Langfelder's trying to get out of this one. It'll bring up Keegan McLaughlin. We mentioned the change defensively for the Rail Riders this past inning. That was Keegan McLaughlin. He'll be catching here today and trying to maybe squeak this one back into a ball game. I mean, who knows? One swing of the bat and it's a 2-run ball game. This entirely changes the course of this ball game. Langfelder falls behind now 2-0, is in more in jeopardy now than ever to walk in a run. Does have 6 walks and 2 hit by pitches today. The command just hasn't quite been there. Ground ball, Eli McDonald. Little underhand throw to Ryan Eastham, and that's the inning. The Rail Riders do add on 2 and are able to score for the first time here tonight in our nightcap. After 5 innings, the Royal Blue Dogs lead this one 8-2. We'll head to the 6th.
Blue Dogs in the top of the 6th inning.
Flip the lineup card over once more for the Royal Blue Dogs. We will see Nick Carlson, Ryan Eastham, and Braden Bach at least lined up currently. We'll see if they have any other changes. Currently leading by 6. It very well might be the end of the day for Ethan Langfelder, as there was a lefty in the bullpen. That was Tommy Rosario. Now a righty in the bullpen currently for the Royal Blue Dogs. If I am not mistaken, that is number 24, Luke Killinger. So 2 different available arms if the Blue Dogs need it for the rest of this way. Again, definitely not out of the picture for the Rail Riders to come back in this one, but the struggling pitching has been an issue. Ground ball over to third. Long throw on a knee is not in time. A tough play by A.J. Urban. That could have been a SportsCenter top 10 play, but the speed right there by Nick Carlson able to just barely beat it out.
The second baseman.
It was a great play nonetheless by A.J. Urban just to stop that ball, and that definitely decreased it from just a single to a double. So
going down that left field line very well could have been a double going down there. Devin Jones is going to courtesy run once again for Nick Carlson. Had a stolen base when Carlson reached on a walk back in the 4th. And again, the speed and agility for him has been the biggest strong suit. And first pitch to Ryan Eastham is in there for a strike. PJ Laux delivers that fastball a little bit inside for a ball, even the count back up at 1-1. The Royal Blue Dogs today have scored in every single inning thus far. Had a 1 run in the first, 2 runs both in the second and the third, additional run in the 4th, and then 2 runs this past inning in the 5th. That puts them at 8 runs here today. Then for the first time here in this one, the Rail Riders were able to add on 2 in the bottom of the 5th to kind of stray away from a possible shutout, as Ethan Langfelder for the Royal Blue Dogs, again, really solid outing, just the command just was not there once again for him.
I mean, nonetheless, he did have a pretty good outing today. It's just a matter of, how much can he command and how long can he keep that command for? Because we saw it today quite a bit, and his previous outings, we just have not really seen it.
Yeah, again, 10 walks coming into today and 10 hit by pitches. Now it's 16 walks and 12 hit by pitches. As Langfelder had 6 walks, just 1 strikeout, and 2 hit by pitches. But the story of the day for him was the defense behind him made plays. I mean, that was the playing factor of it. As this one shot, possible double play. Whoa, way long of a throw gets into center field. Devin Jones is going to stay at second. And another error defensively. I think P.J. Laux, who normally sets himself up as a second baseman, kind of rushed that throw a little bit trying to get the double play.
If he would have got the double play, it would have been a tailor-made double play like we saw some of those earlier. But nonetheless, Royal Blue Dogs here with no one on or no outs and 2 on. So,
yeah, so the second error on the pitching staff so far in this one for the Rail Riders. This one chopped once again back up the middle, and another error gets past Gabriel Baker. And bases loaded now as back-to-back errors makes it number 7 so far here today for the Rail Riders in 2 games. That's a hard play right there for Gabriel Baker up the middle. I mean, definitely probably could have gotten off that lip, but either way, now here with nobody out, an infield single by Nick Carlson, the error by P.J. Laux, and then the error right there by Gabriel Baker. Its base is low and the ball still hasn't even left the infield.
Jaden, I think you could say the story of the day for this Rail Riders team is errors in the infield.
That and then lack of pitching. Definitely has been an issue for them. 3 different guys, at least not lined up, coming into this one with no pitching experience, as that one gets away from Keegan McLaughlin. Devin Jones is going to come in to score. And another insurance run for the Royal Blue Dogs. It's now 9-2 as all the runners advance 90 feet, and still a runner at second and third here for Eli McDonald. McDonald, of all guys, just had a walk back in the first, but is not found the offensive consistency that we've seen from him all season long. Is 0 for 2 with a ground out and a fly out to the center fielder. And here even back up at 2-2, trying to possibly add to his RBI total. This one fouled off. We'll do the 2-2 once again. I think it'll be just kind of interesting to see what the Rail Riders will take out of today, as they've really struggled to kind of put good plate appearances together. As that one's driven into center field. Going to be an RBI single for Eli McDonald as the throw comes in and keeps the runner back at third. And now another run. It's double digits now for the Royal Blue Dogs. It's 10-2. An infield single from Nick Carlson, 2 errors, and then a single up the middle from Eli McDonald. And still with nobody out, it's Tommy Rowland, the left fielder, trying to continue this 6th inning. Looks at a first pitch outside for ball 1.
Jaden, it really seems nothing is going right for these Rail Riders today. In 2 games, just really nothing going in their favor.
This one lifted and foul. It'll get down out there in left field as Cedric Dunwald was racing towards the Eagles all the way to the fence to try to get that ball. But for the Rail Riders, again, we've seen them have back-to-back-to-back games. They have a game Sunday, but before that had just about 5 days off to play since Tuesday, June 21st, and lost the Haymakers 2-1 this past Sunday. A game against the Filth Ballers yesterday, 1, and then 2 games here today. Another one that lofts into center field. Gabriel Baker able to snatch that one up and keep Braden Bach at third, and broken bat Flair with 1 out here. And where's Whit Rogers when you need him?
We may need to call time and give the bat to Whit Rogers over there at first base, because he's looking over at first base.
He's waiting. He's waiting.
He wants it.
For those who may remember, Whit Rogers had a pretty infamous broken bat play when the Rail Riders took on the Crop Dusters earlier this season on Tuesday, June 14th.
It's on Twitter.
It is on Twitter. Speaking of Twitter, go follow the Corn Belt League Twitter page, as that one's going to get past A.J. Urbon. Another error. And a runner at first and second And we make it now 11-2 in favor of the Royal Blue Dogs. But again, let's trim back. Follow Twitter. Corn Belt League on Twitter, Corn Belt League on Instagram.
I follow it.
You can follow it. See, you follow it. All should follow it.
Yeah, and you can also vote for the hitter and pitcher of the week on there.
You can do that every single week. On Monday mornings, you can vote for the Corn Belt League pitcher and hitter of the week. 4 nominees each week from the top performances across the Corn Belt League from the week before. And by the time it's Tuesday morning, you know who the winner is. This past week, as almost a catch by one of the fans of that foul ball, Anthony Comfort was kind of the story of the day for pitching-wise, but there was some thoughts. Hey, Eli Cernkovich for the Black Sox, who had a really good outing up against the Haymakers earlier this past week, was kind of very similar numbers. I think the only thing that differentiated him from Comfort was the fact that Comfort didn't allow a hit and no-hit the Red Raiders this past Thursday on News Channel Nebraska.
And I just want to talk about Anthony Comfort right now, and I know we'll talk about it more in the podcast tomorrow, but 64% first pitch strike in that outing. You can't really ask for much better than that out of 7 innings, and out of total, he had a 60% strike percentage, which is exactly what you want to ask for out of a starting pitcher that goes the whole game and has a no-hitter. So it was an amazing outing by Anthony Comfort for that outing last week. So good for him on winning that, and it was a blowout on that Twitter poll. It was a straight blowout for him. So good for him on winning that award, and I'm excited to see him, and hopefully he makes it to the All-Star game next week.
2 outs here after the strikeout from Cuddy George. Ground ball, able to make the play is Nolan Chandler. And that will end the top of the 6th. The Royal Blue Dogs add on 3 more after a couple of errors on 2 hits. And we'll head to the bottom of the 6th. We'll see what the Rail Riders can do. Got a little glimpse right there of Whit Rogers having some fun here. So see what he wants to do, just standing out there a little bit.
Dance moves?
Fun night. Hey!
There we go.
Hey! Whit Rogers.
Look at that. Amazing.
Fan favorite. I think if you can hear it maybe on the mic, a little bit of some clap.
Oh, director and
that was
tech
beautiful.
producer.
Oh, yeah.
Ethan and Maddox are loving it right now. Ethan can't stop laughing at it.
For those who don't know, the Corn Belt League crew giving you all the action here in the Corn Belt League this season. Getting all those amazing shots here on Tuesday Night Baseball. And Whit Rogers still having some fun as that one's lined and caught by the shortstop and Eli McDonald. As hitting right there was number 29, Ben Raveling.
Jaden
Raveling switches back out. He still will. I'm not sure exactly how they switched it up, but Raveling's still in the ballgame, not as the catcher. I think they'll switch him up as the extra hitter.
Jaden, what can't you love about the Corn Belt League? It's
Hey,
all
I
fun.
mean, Whit Rogers is.
It's all fun.
He's a fan favorite up here. He's a fan favorite across the Corn Belt League, and hey, why not get into the All-Star game a little bit too? Another guy that's had a pretty decent season for the Rail Riders. Definitely a free spirit to say the least. Has a ton of fun. Loving playing summer ball here in Omaha, Nebraska.
We got to get that dance move on Twitter.
We're
mention
getting that.
Twitter.
We're getting that. If anybody wants to, you can screen record that beautiful dance move right there by Whit Rogers. Pulling every card he can to have some fun here in a late night ball game here in Omaha, Nebraska. We're just hitting 10 o'clock here in this one. JJ Isaacson Field, second of two today. First game of the day, the Red Raiders, a 14-8 win over against these Rail Riders. It was kind of an odd pitching day. The defense was definitely not there for either teams. A combined 9 errors in that one. But Josh Osen was able to just do enough, and they came through after a 6-run top of the seventh, which has continued to keep going. And the Rail Riders now in jeopardy of dropping 2 in just a matter of 6 hours.
Number 42, Gabriel Baker.
That'll bring up the shortstop now, Gabriel Baker. He was lining himself up to be an extra hitter. A couple different changes here for the Rail Riders. But Baker so far here today, 1 for 2 with a single this past inning in the 5th.
Yeah.
0-1 pitch is in there for a strike. And Luke Killinger, who is the new pitcher here for the Royal Blue Dogs, another guy out of Arizona Christian University, just like Evan Heeb and a couple of the different other guys here for the Royal Blue Dogs. And I'll say to that, I mean, I think both met Killinger, met Evan Heeb. He's kind of been the main guy for him. And a lot of really nice guys at Arizona Christian University. And a big strikeout right there by Luke Killinger. We're through 6 here at JJ Isaacson Field. It's the Royal Blue Dogs 11, the Rail Riders 2. Top of the 7th, last inning to go here in this one. The Royal Blue Dogs lead the Rail Riders 11-2. They have scored in every single inning so far. A 3-run 6th inning has put it to where it is as Trent Collegiate flies this one, down the left field line and foul. Collegiate today is having a pretty good day at the plate as a designated hitter. Has reached base all 3 times he's come up to the plate. Reached on a 3-bag error by Matthew Coughlin in the 2nd, then doubled and reached 3rd on a throw in the 3rd, and then right after that in the 5th, singled straight up the middle. And he's been a guy that we've seen in the scorebook all day long. 1-1 pitch to him. That one's fouled and out of play.
It's pretty impressive what the Royal Blue Dogs have done today. Scored in every inning. It goes 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, right? I mean, it's very easy for some teams to just be like, all right, we're done. You know, we have this game kind of locked up. You have the lead, and just maybe slow down a little bit. But that's not been the case here so far for the Royal Blue Dogs. As, like you mentioned, they've scored in every single inning so far of this one, and trying to maybe keep that trend going here in the 7th. So you Will Richter, the extra hitter, 0 for 2 today with a strikeout back in the 2nd. And so look at a first pitch ball upstairs. That one's fouled back. Richter, a guy at a Southeast Community College. I've seen a lot of those different guys in this league. 9 different players from Southeast Community College. There's kind of them, Northeast Community College, Bellevue, Midland. Those have kind of really been the schools that we've seen the most of here in the Corn Belt League. And kind of see pockets of guys here and there. A couple guys from Minnesota Morris that we saw for the Red Raiders. A couple guys from Arizona Christian. A couple guys from West Virginia Westland we've seen here for the Crop Dusters. Thatcher Poteet, Anthony Comfort, or not Anthony Comfort, Jack Tilton, Thatcher Poteet. And
AJ Ventry.
Yeah, AJ Ventry. That's what I was trying to think. I knew it was a pitcher. I cannot remember the name. But yeah, a lot of different pockets of guys from all across the country coming in to Omaha, Nebraska. And you're very well, talk about Texas being the mecca of so many different sports. And if you really want good college baseball, this is the place to go with College World Series here and Corn Belt League action, different other college leagues around here this summer. Is a walk right there for Will Richter with 1 out.
That's why I think this All-Star game coming up is going to be a really good game because you have the in-state guys they're all playing together and they all really play well together because they're all from in-state. And then you get to see the out-of-state guys really play together. So you see a mix of Virginia guys, see a mix of Texas guys, California, just a mix of everywhere really. So that's why I think it's going to be such a great game to come watch. And it really is. You should come out and watch this game because there's so many festivities going on. It's not just baseball going on.
Yeah, again, if you have an open night on July 3rd, that's this upcoming Sunday. This would be a beautiful place to go. I mean, some fun baseball, a lot of different guys from a lot of different areas, maybe some new friends to meet. We got so much going on here at Seymour Smith Park. And who cannot complain about some more corn? I mean, we are Nebraska, to say the least.
That is very true. It's the Corn Belt League.
It is the Corn Belt
League. It's got
the
name in it.
That's got the name in it. We're right here.
And I'm not going to let down that corn cob eating challenge. I'm not letting it down.
We're doing this.
Okay, I know.
This is a reason. All fans out there watching this game, Around the Corn podcast, as note throw right there from AJ Urban. Around the Corn podcast, we have to figure it out. We are doing a corn cob eating contest.
We can do it on a Sunday. We can do it on one of the podcast days. Why not just do it on a live broadcast? That may not work, actually.
I don't know.
I'm liking the.
You got to adjust a little bit, right?
I'm liking the Around the podcast.
Like, you have to have a little, after eating that much corn, you got to adjust a little bit to get yourself right. I think I'd be, some corn might be not quite settling well if I commentated right after eating.
Because you're gonna lose.
Well, no, because I'm eating so many that I'm gonna win.
Oh.
See?
I guess we'll have to find out.
Loads of competition in the Corn Belt League, whether it's in the booth or on the field.
Our director, Ethan McCormick, says he wants to get on it. See, we may have to do it on the podcast.
Yeah, that's what we got to do on the podcast.
We could go over to Hy-Vee where Ethan works at. Have to go over there and get a lot
Hy-Vee has a good corn.
Get a lot of corn,
Hy-Vee has good corn.
Just a nice promotion. He's wearing his Hy-Vee shirt right now.
Royal Blue Dogs here with 1 out, still trying to add on up 11-2 as PJ Laux is currently working his 3rd inning of relief work. Does have so far 6 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. But for a guy that really does not have a ton of pitching experience, has shown off the heat so far as He's arguably, I mean, you know, there's different things to see, but in my opinion, from at least my vantage point up here, he's probably the hardest throwing guy that we've seen here in 2 games today.
No doubt about that. We did see we saw Cody Heidenreich, and he hasn't pitched before, and he was throwing a lot harder than our very first guy, Matthew Hoffingen, but nonetheless, we have so far very
good work here for Laux. Fielder's choice up the middle is a good ground out right there, as Nolan Chandler was able to flip over to Gabriel Baker. And 2 outs here on the top of the 7th. As now runners at the corners here. And maybe the trend might be gone. I don't want to do a commentator's jinx, but the Royal Blue Dogs have scored in every single inning so far, except this one. But we'll see here with 2 outs if Braden Bach can come through and keep this trend alive.
The commentator's jinx is sometimes the majority of the time is live, so.
Ground ball over to Baker, flip on to second and Chandler. We don't commentators jinx it. The Royal Blue Dogs for the first time today do not score in an inning. However, we head to the bottom of the 7th. Last chance for the Rail Riders. They need 9 to tie, 10 to win this one. Last chance here for the Rail Riders in the 7th, currently down 9. Luke Killinger trying to work another piece here in this one as that one's driven out into right field for a single, and the Rail Riders start this one off here in the 7th.
Good start here for the Rail Riders to somewhat get something going from and string hopefully something together. They have a long comeback to do here in the next 3 outs that they are given, but nonetheless, great start for them.
Yeah, P.J. Laux is the one that drove that into right field. I know you recently got a text from Thatcher Poteet, one of the guys for the Crop Dusters, and he's calling his shot. It's going to be 10 runs here for the Rail Riders and a comeback as P.J. Laux is off at first. He's headed to second, and you never know. I mean, this is why you play the game. This is why there's no time limit on baseball. Still a chance for the Rail Riders, and I think that's kind of going to be the mindset. You just go up, swing the bat as loosely as possible and see what you can pull out of this one. Definitely want to, no matter what, end this game with some kind of fight. 1-0 pitch, curveball is outside for a ball.
So,
2-0 pitch is upstairs, and now Killinger falling behind here 3-0. PJ Laux out at second base. He singled to start off the inning. Laux had a pretty solid day, 2 for 4. With 2 singles, he's passed 2 innings. Or excuse me, my apology, other end. 1 for 2 today with a, 2 for 4 actually is still line. With 2 singles, and also have a pop out of the second baseman in the 5th. Killinger can't quite see the signs. And he'll look here at the 3-1. 3-1 pitch upstairs, but a big swing by Derek Enertson. And gets under that one. A full count now here just a minute. Full count pitch coming here from Killinger. That one is low for ball 4. And back-to-back base runners here for the Rail Riders. As again, we mentioned, still an opportunity to put up some kind of fight here. It's a tall task, but you got the middle of the order now here in Whit Rogers. And we talked about it a little bit ago. The festivities for him have been big. And another guy, possibly some guys calling out, possibly a big shot here coming from Whit. Still nobody out here as Rogers grounds that one over to short. McDonald over to second. Eastham on to first. Double play. And now the Rail Riders are down to their last out. A 6-4-3 double play. Taylor made for the middle of the infield. And now that'll bring up the last chance for the Rail Riders. That's A.J. Urban, third baseman.
The third baseman. Blackhawk College, number 38, A.J. Urban.
Urban so far today, 1 for 2. Had a single back in the 5th, a walk in the 3rd, and then a pop-out foul to the first baseman back in the 1st. Killinger trying to end this one off, and we're still seeing some confusion here. I don't think they can, they can't quite see the plate. As the home plate umpire will have to dust it off a little bit. I think that might actually been the complaint a couple pitches ago for Killinger. First pitch coming here to Urban. That one grounded, still fair, and it is touched fair and unable to get the out as Killinger couldn't grab the ball, try to apply the tag but didn't have the ball in his hands. A really odd play right there. It's kind of been an odd day. The Rail Riders do add 1 here in the bottom of the 7th, so 11-3.
I think there was quite a bit of things going on in that play right there. He got the
I
ball,
thought that was
touched
foul.
it, went foul, and then got it back in his glove, and then it just popped out of his glove. So
yeah, I kind of thought that was foul going down the first base line, but I think Killinger was trying to just make the play and get it done. Touch it barely fair, but couldn't get a hold of it to get the out. And it's a run scored here for the Rail Riders. First pitch is inside to Cedric Dunwald. Dunwald 1 for 1 on the day, but it's been a pretty productive day. A single back in the 2nd and an RBI sac fly back in the 5th. It was 1 of 2. Originally the first 2 runs of the day and only runs of the day for the Rail Riders, but they're able to add on here in the 7th. And Killinger now finding himself down 2-0. Killinger with a 2-0. That one laced over the first baseman, but Josh Moore able to get in front of it and makes the play And that's the final. After 2 hours and 18 minutes, the Royal Blue Dogs win this one 11-3. A much-needed win for them as they move on to 4-8 on the season. The Rail Riders, a struggling day for them. They go after being 4-5. They drop now down to 4-7. And man, it's a long day of baseball, but a sloppy one at that. But able to win it out was the Blue Dogs and the Red Raiders, and I think a lot of positives to think of them. What do you see here from the Royal Blue Dogs?
A lot of positives here for the Royal Blue Dogs. The bats were on all game. We saw so many extra base hits go, and the pitching, on the other hand, was amazing. Ethan Langfelder pitched really good. We came into the game with a lot of walks and a lot of hit by pitches. We didn't really expect him. We didn't know if he was going to be consistent around the zone, and that's all he was today. First 5 innings, he threw up zeros, and you can't really ask anything else. We also thought Evan He was going to start on the bump today, had a little discomfort in his arm, so he did not get the start. And so great job by the Blue Dogs in the whole, and the bullpen, can't really ask anything much better for them.
Yep, the hits were there for the Royal Blue Dogs. Now let's look at the other side for the Rail Riders real quick. We'll just kind of wrap this one up. Take a quick break right after this, though, and talk with our player of the game. But Max, there's a lot of things that change, I think, for the Rail Riders right now. 2 losses, and the pitching wasn't there. Again, it's been a taxed bullpen so far with 3 consecutive days that they've played without a day off. 4 games in 3 days for them. But I mean, what do you have to find if you're the Rail Riders going forward, if you're going to try to salvage this season?
Well, you really got to find that defense. That was the biggest problem for them today. There's so many errors going in from the first game and then going on to the second game. I want to go back to that first game, the very last inning, when it was tied, and then they had those really costly errors in that last inning, and then it really just translated over to the second game. They just looked fatigued going out from the very first inning, and it really showed because they didn't score a run until the 5th inning. They were scoreless through the 5th, and the Blue Dogs had a run in every single inning besides that last 7th inning, so it really showed for them.
Yeah, we talked about in the first game for Vinny Sargent, 9 different errors when he was on the mound, 8 unearned runs for him. Just in this game alone, the Rail Riders gave up 5 unearned runs in this first game. We'll have to check for the second game, but definitely at least 4 or 5 of those were unearned runs as well. So again, the defense has just not been able to help the Rail Riders out this season, and definitely a lot of things to change. Definitely you're going to have a break tomorrow, but you're right back against a really good team, the Black Sox, on Thursday.
They got to do something different. I don't know if they're going to have practice tomorrow on their day off, but if they do, they got to do something different. They got to field a lot of ground balls, a lot of pop flies. They just got to get those reps in. They got to change something up. Their bats are there. The first game they had 11 hits. Today they had 5 hits in their last game. They scored 3 runs in this game in the nightcap. In the 5 o'clock game they scored 8. So their bats are there. It's just their fielders and their pitchers. It's just the amount of depth that they have. Not really a lot. They brought in some guys that didn't even pitch. Like we talk about Cody Heidenreich.
And Laux, yeah.
Heidenreich didn't even pitch until today, and he came out in both games and really did his job out of the bullpen. You can't really ask for much as he hasn't pitched ever. So really did a great job, and the Rail Riders really can use him going on in the season, but they just got to change something up.
We'll take a quick break here on the Corn Belt League YouTube channel. Once we come back, we'll talk with our Kelly Supply Company player of the game. The Royal Blue Dogs win this one 11-3. back here to wrap things up on the post-game show here at JJ Isaacson Field. The final 11-3, a blowout win for the Royal Blue Dogs. 10 hits, 3 errors, another 5 errors, and loads of free passes from the Rail Riders. I am here with our Kelly Supply Company player of the game. And, man, I mean, Lane Shires, you just had an incredible game at the plate. 3 for 3 with 2 singles and a triple, 3 RBIs and 2 runs. And I think the offense was the biggest thing to showcase here today for you guys. I mean, how are you guys able to see so many good pitches to put them in play?
Yeah, definitely. We came into today, we struggled offensively all year, and I think it kind of switched today, I'd say. We had 10 hits, scored every inning except for the last. I think all of our guys just felt more confident going to the plate. And, yeah, it just felt nice to finally connect on some pitches. But, yeah.
All right, so speaking of that, I mean, you talk about, again, sometimes this team has struggled offensively in big moments, right? You guys have struggled to really kind of put a lot of different innings together, but you scored in 6 of the 7 innings here. I mean, for a lot of teams, when you're up by 6, 7, 8, they can be like, all right, we're in a cushion, we're just going to calm down here and maybe let it go. What was the mentality to make sure, okay, you guys are just swinging away each and every at-bat?
Yeah, I mean, I think – yeah, that's been our problem. We score in the first couple innings and we just let off, and all of our guys just, take the rest of the game off, which I'm glad that we had enough energy and enough strength to just push through the game and just keep pounding runs in. So, yeah.
All right, so going into the rest of this weekend, you guys take on the Black Sox on Friday, then take on these same Rail Riders on Saturday. Before we get to the All-Star break, what's the mentality going forward for this group?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just need to keep this game in mind about just how great we succeeded through every inning and just keep taking it to teams and, yeah, just keep it going through the season. Hopefully flip this record around and come on top. So, yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. Our Kelly Supply Company player of the game in Lane Shires. A big win here tonight for the Royal Blue Dogs. Make sure to stay tuned. Tomorrow we'll be back here at 5 p.m. for the Around the Corn podcast. We'll talk with our hitter and pitcher of the week and also get through our All-Star Selection Showdown at the end of that one. From Jaden Taylor alongside Max Coughlin, everybody here in the Corn Belt League crew, thank you guys so much and have a wonderful evening.